Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CarterMatt.com.
This is your first viewing reaction, or at least our first viewing, of The Expanse Season 1, Episode number 7, entitled Windmills, which I am sure is a reference to one or two things. It is either Don Quixote, or somehow the writers for The Expanse managed to time travel to the future, and they saw Hannah Brown's season of The Bachelorette. I'm pretty sure it's probably the first.
I feel that it's the first.
Yeah, there are a lot of Don Quixote references throughout here. But anyway, we're going to discuss a new mission for Miller, who wants to be the lone wolf. We have the saddest separation of the series to date, Miller and his hat.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
And what kind of, sad...
Things are changing for him.
There needs to be, a sad montage somewhere of all of Miller's best moments with his hat through Season 1 of The Expanse. But anyway, we got a lot of fun stuff to discuss. Also, some Holden backstory.
Yeah.
Before we do, though, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to Carter Matt on YouTube, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. How about we follow your lead here? Let's start with Christian, because you are you are the self-appointed head of the Christian support group.
Fan club.
Okay.
I'll call it a fan club.
Okay, I didn't know what you were calling it.
I love her. So yes, having her front and center, big story, it was good. We learned a little more about what was going on with her son and how she lost her son. We met Holden's mom, and we learned more about Holden, which for me, if you've been watching these, you know that I'm having a harder time connecting to Holden than maybe some of you out there, or Matt, who loves Holden.
Team Holden.
Yeah, I had been having a much harder time, because he sort of came across as a character that I've seen a lot of times, that slacker, do-gooder kind of character is what he sort of felt like. This episode changed all of that for me in a really good way. We learned about a bit of his background, that he's got 8 parents.
Yeah.
He's got all this different genetic material of 8 different people. And that he was basically, at least my interpretation of it, he was basically made for this greater purpose of all these 8 people. And that there was this really heavy sort of burden that was put on him because of, I guess, his position in his family. And that his mom sort of let him go, or told him to go, so that he didn't have to have this crushing burden of this fight he could not win. And so now when I look back at some of the beginning scenes with Holden, and the idea that, oh yeah, I don't want to be second in command. No, I don't want to have these types of responsibilities on him. Now it's all making sense. He's not just this sort of slacker do-gooder. He's a guy who had the most responsibility on him, and now he's in a position where he has freedom. His mother has helped him have a life of his own to choose what he wants to do with, and he's choosing to still try to do he feels like a person who's just so broken and pulled into these 2 different directions, where he wants to do the right thing, but that crushing weight of so much responsibility just feels like he was brought up with it, that now I think he struggles with that. And this gave him these beautiful layers that I'd been looking for in him, and are now here. Sorry, that was a bit long-winded.
Well,
but I'm now becoming Team Holden.
Well, welcome to the team, first and foremost. I will be sure to print you out a jersey. But, see, as a member of Team Holden, I felt like there was, I don't want to prophesize anything. I felt like there was something there that was making him this way, and I get it a little bit more now, even more so than I did, because I feel like at a certain point, a lot of people are like, you know what? I'm ready to be a leader. I'm ready to take this on, but at the time in which all this was happening, presumably, he was a pretty young kid. And when you're a young kid, to be told, oh, yeah, you got to take care of all of this, that's a lot to put on any one person. And I think he's been able to go out, sort of see the universe, explore himself. I don't think he's even fully figured himself out. I kind of like these characters who are kind of lost. And I'm not even trying to make a Lost reference here. I just like people who have that sort of ambiguity where they don't really know fully what they want, because I think that's more true to life than, somebody like an Amos who, don't get me wrong, I love me some Amos. I feel like I know who that guy is, and I feel like he knows who he is.
I don't know that we do know who he is. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about him, and I feel like there's something, like I just discovered with Holden, that there's something else with Amos as well. Because the fact that they had this character that felt like a character I'd seen a million times, and they made him fresh and new and brought in this whole multi-layered arc with him and Holden, that I feel like that could be something that could be coming for Amos as well.
And, if Amos manages to surprise me, I will be more than fine with being surprised by Amos still. I feel like I kind of got a sense of him, but I think the joy of a show like The Expanse is they can sort of flip that around already. So, I mean, in getting back to Christian, she does what she can to get information, and it seems like she's more at least Team Holden than some other people she's associated with are.
Yeah, it was, but she's a person who thinks of the long game, and she wants to know more about this stealth technology, where it came from. Holden might have some answers, he might have nothing, but if he's dead, then he definitely has nothing for her. So I can completely understand that she wants to find him, and she wants to find him alive, because he is no use to anyone on Earth if he's dead. And I also get where the rest of them are coming from, where it's like, okay, so much stuff has happened, this guy's a problem, we got to deal with this now.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be, well, to me anyway, it's going to be interesting to see who ends up winning out between all these different forces that are all sort of locking in on who Holden is, what his motivation is. They have a certain kind of assumption as to where he's going, when in reality that might not be where he is going. And I think, I just want to know at this point, and I'm not going to, because I am enjoying the journey of The Expanse. I want to see that finale, because I feel like that finale's got to have like everyone just like running towards each other, and then they're all just going to collide and fall over.
I'm excited to see this all come together.
That feels like where we're going, but let's talk now, though, about Christian, and most of her information is coming from someone who I just want to call Spy Guy right now.
We'll call him Spy Guy. I didn't catch his name. I don't know if they actually gave his name. I was waiting for a name. Maybe I missed it. My hearing's not that great, so sometimes I miss stuff.
But,
I think we'll call him Spy Guy for now.
Spy Guy to me is more fun, because unless they emphasize something to me, I'm probably not always going to get it. I'm a little bit slow on memorizing names. But Spy Guy is aboard the Rocinante, and he wants to do what spy guys do best, obviously, and that includes finding. But he seems like he's doing an okay job at spying at first. Like, how would you grade his spying performance leading into this episode? I would say a solid B at first.
I would say that he the whole idea of it just kind of remind me, and forgive me, but I'm a lost person. It kind of reminded me of when Ben came into the camp and he was starting to gather information about people. It kind of had that same feeling, but not on like as grand a scale as a Ben Linus, or as necessarily as good as a Ben Linus. He's good.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's solid.
Yeah, he's not like the guy who's going to come out and score like 40 points in the basketball game, but maybe he'd get like a solid 10 to 15. He would do a decent job. The problem is he made some mistakes. And, when you make some mistakes and you do some things to send out a signal, and there ain't going to be any signal on the ship otherwise, people are going to find out.
I think he underestimated this crew, and to me, that's kind of exciting, because if he's been a spy for, it seems, quite a while, he should be quite good at this, and there has been some stuff that he's been quite good at. So unless he did this on purpose to be able to insert himself into the team, talk to the team, learn about the team, try to get a signal back so he can gather information about the team. Unless this was on purpose, he's underestimated the team. Or at least he's underestimated Naomi.
I think he didn't realize that he would be found out this quickly, but I think he obviously prepared for it because he did his best to have information ready on the fly. And what I liked about this storyline, because at first I was sort of just like, okay, I don't know where this is going. Like, why can't we just have an episode of The Expanse without something going wrong for these people? But I think really where it went for me was just a good reminder of sort of the moral dilemmas for these people aboard this ship and how you want to handle situations like him, because you had Holden's strategy, but then you also had Amos's strategy, which just a little bit different.
A little bit different, but neither of them exactly wrong at this point, which again is why I like this show, where I can see where Amos is coming from. There's just two guys. If they let them come on, and then it turns into 50 guys and turns into jail. But I also see Holden's side. Do we need to have a higher body count? They just helped us. Do we need to now make it worse for no reason? You know, I can see both sides. I love the show for that.
I can see both sides. I understand exactly why the writers framed it in this way, because it's sort of, we've had all these like big massacres on the Expanse so far. Ships blowing up, and now it's like, okay, here's like a character. Here's one character we're gonna put in front of you. You know a little bit about him. He tells everyone a little bit about him as well. I mean, who knows whether or not any of this is true. But still, he presents a story to them, and then it's harder to get rid of somebody with a story.
It depends who it is.
Well, if his story is hi, I'm Mr. Evil Face, maybe it's a little bit easier.
I mean, it depends on who it is he's telling the story to. He could tell the most heartbreaking story to Amos, and he's still going to be like, sorry, loose end, you got to go.
And like you said, I get Amos's point of view on all of it, but I also get now Holden feeling like after all of this, that whatever has happened between Amos and ultimately Naomi, it's put them in a position where Amos is just completely unhinged and he's doing whatever Amos wants, and whatever Amos wants, not really good for Holden.
No, and may or may not be good for everybody. It really, that's the thing about that particular situation. It really could have gone either way, depending on what they did.
But, you know, here's the good news. It seems as though they found themselves a specific location that they're going to be going to.
Yes.
So we have an end point for them. It's not Eros, but maybe we're going to get there eventually, because we have Miller now leaving Ceres for the first time. Very interesting how he is so desperate to be the lone wolf.
That scene with him in the tube, in the tunnel, talking to himself about all that, about just himself, was easily the scene for me that stole this whole episode. That feeling of him just being, it was just him saying, I used to be good at this. That this was, he's felt like a joke. He's been told that he's basically a joke. He's handed these types of cases that they don't care if they ever get solved. They never get solved. And him feeling like, man, I used to be really good at this. What happened to me? How did this turn in like this? Is it something from inside me? Is it because of situations? Did I really like lose myself? I loved that scene with him. So now that he's off being lone wolf, I'm going on an adventure. We know that that's not exactly what he's doing, telling Octavia that. But,
you know. But
it is in a way like that, because it feels like this isn't really about Julie. This is about Miller, and this is about him figuring out maybe at what point he did lose himself. Maybe he didn't, and it's just hidden in there somewhere, and he's out there to find it. I love Miller. I love me some Miller. I love where the story is going, but that scene in the subway was the highlight for me.
There were a lot of really good ones for Miller. I feel like the Miller storyline was the strongest part of this episode, mostly almost just visually, with all the different little shots that they gave him. You had that one. You have the one at the end where he's aboard his new vessel and he's holding on to Julie's necklace, and I think this is a reminder of his mission. And it's probably a weird analogy, but to me, Miller feels like someone who just got dumped, and he feels heartbroken about it, but there's also this part of him where he's just sort of like, what's wrong with me? But then he's just like, you know what? I'm going to show everyone that I'm great, that I'm amazing. He's basically doing almost his own version of someone who is like going to some sort of retreat after a breakup to sort of rediscover themselves and heal, but I think the only way that Miller can heal is by going to try to get answers.
And him holding onto that necklace was a really interesting scene too, because that necklace looked a bit and felt like I could feel it, like a rosary, because it was beads on top of beads on top of beads. And we're looking at someone who at the beginning of this episode was feeling really lost and didn't know himself anymore, didn't know what happened to himself. And by the end of it, he's on this journey into the next thing, and you can see him in there like almost like he's counting the rosary beads on this necklace, that this necklace and this jewelry case is the hope of him finding himself again.
Well, let's talk this decision, because it seems like Octavia is all in on wanting to go with him on this journey, and he is just sort of like, no, don't do this. I mean, I'll tell you my theory as to why, I don't know for sure, is that he feels, well, he doesn't want anything else to happen to her professionally.
Yeah.
He feels like it's his burden. It's not something he wants something to happen with her as a result of it. And I mean, I also wonder if sort of selfishly there's a part of him that wants to have all the glory in the event that this is resolved, so he can feel like he got all the healing he needed and it was all on him to do so.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think he needs this for himself, to heal inside himself, to show himself, I am still that cop, I'm still that detective, I can still do this, I am not a joke, and I don't need anybody else to validate me or not validate me. I'm gonna validate myself. Now I don't have my badge anymore, I don't have any access to anything anymore, and I'm still gonna do this.
What's going on with Havelock? Like, is he just like in a bed somewhere being like, hey guys, remember me?
Yeah, he's healing up. He needs one of those magic leg braces
that
that Amos had that all of a sudden is like, boop, and now you're good.
Yeah, apparently they don't make those for like for like impalings into the chest.
Yeah,
but,
I guess not.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm curious to know though if we are going to see some of these series people again.
Yeah.
Because, Anderson Dawes, I mean, I would hope we see Jared Harris again.
I would hope so. After that story last episode about how he killed his sister.
Oh, boy.
Wow. He's
something.
He's something.
He produces
tough character.
He produces feelings. I'm not sure they're good feelings, but he produces feelings.
Yes, he does.
And this episode produced some feelings to me. I mean, I wouldn't say overall, I don't have a good ranking in my head. It wouldn't be probably my favorite episode of the season yet, but I would say it's probably somewhere within the middle. I think there was a lot of good stuff in here, a little bit of character information. I could have used a little bit more Naomi, but I think overall...
I feel like I can always use some more Naomi.
Yeah, this is true. I did think emotionally, the Miller stuff was so great.
Yeah, it was really great, and for me, I needed this episode so that I could have some kind of connection with Holden, because it has been a harder journey for me to not have that with someone who feels like they're supposed to be kind of the hero. And I know everybody's good and bad in this show, and everybody has their moments, and I'm sure Holden's going to have them too.
Yeah.
But he's one of the main characters, and I just couldn't connect.
Yeah.
So I needed this episode, and I'm really glad that it happened. Finally, for me.
One last thing I liked. I like seeing like real food being made. Like, silly as it is, just like Holden's mom, just like kind of living off the. It's okay, people still do this.
Yeah.
That was just kind of comforting to me. But anyway, we will wrap up this discussion. We have toured the windmills. We have seen them spin around and do everything else, I guess, that windmills do. And I want to know now from you guys, what did you think about this episode when you saw it the first time? Let us know your spoiler-free reactions in the comments below. And also, if you enjoyed this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking that link in the description to the Carter Matt store. And we'll see you here next time.